Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are checking out the Poikilo Blades Rhino M, and that's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now, this was sent to the channel for review from Poikilo. I don't get to keep it, it goes right back to them. And this was designed and OEM'd by Poikilo, and this is part of their Bio series. They've got Bio, Tactical, Futuristic, and EDC. And the names and style all go along with the series they're a part of. So this one's called the Rhino, and kind of looks like it's got like a rhino's horn, and it's gray like a rhino is. So just a subtle nod to the animal that it's named after. Now, before we jump into it, I do want to say I appreciate you guys very much for the subscribers, the likes, the comments, all the interaction and engagement. You guys have been awesome. Please keep doing what you're doing, and just know that it's super appreciated. All right, now jumping back into it, we've got titanium, smooth titanium for front and back scales. We do have some chamfering just to make the grip a little more comfortable. You see it up here. You see it back here too. Kind of where those edges would be. They've stylistically knocked them down. And it looks really good. All the milling they have on the front, they also have on the back, which is excellent. We have no hardware. No screws. Nothing on the pivot. No pocket clip screw. And then we have a Zerkatai for the pivot collars, front and back. We have deep carry milled Zerkatai pocket clip. And then we have a Zerkatai half back spacer. And then about halfway down, it does give us some jimping. Not necessarily functional jimping, but jimping nonetheless. And I gotta say, the this kind of like dark blue, purple Zerkatai has got to be my favorite sort of. Well, I don't want to call it an inlay. Well, yeah, actually, it is inlaid up here. But of all the Zerkatai I've seen, the Timascus I've seen, this is by far my favorite. Just looks really, really good. And then we do have a spot for lanyards right down here at the bottom. Now, as far as the ergonomics go, we do have some recommendations based on the handle. So I can get a full 4-finger grip with my large-ish size hands. I've got an extra space for a finger. Same thing. I can choke all the way back, and I still have another spot for a whole other finger. And despite the way this looks, because this doesn't look comfortable. Like whenever I first looked at it, I was like, no, that's hotspot central. Whenever I get it in hand, though, just a normal grip feels great. No hotspots. But then if I grip down on it super hard, depending on how I'm gripping it, like you can see I'm kind of white knuckling it here, I can feel the pocket clip. And if I grip it down a little bit further into my fingers and I squeeze really hard right here, then I can kind of feel these edges, even though they're rounded off, they're smoothed. But all in all, as long as you're just gripping it like normal, this is super comfortable. No issues at all. And if you squeeze down a little bit, you're still not going to have hot spots. It really is only if you're just squeezing the ever living crap out of it. That's when you're going to start to notice them. Now, some people do have to do that with their EDC. They do have to just grip down on it like nobody's business. So for those people, this will have hot spots, right? Now, as far as the weight goes, this isn't a small knife, but it feels lightweight, and we are almost perfectly balanced, slightly butt heavy. We do have jimping up here at the top, but this jimping is not functional. That is for indexing. Just kind of letting you know where your thumb's at on the blade. Now, speaking of the blade, We do have a Tonto, 0.1, 0.2. Oh, look at that. Look at that mirror stone wash. Looks so good. But yeah, we've got a Tonto / Persian style blade with a mirror stone wash finish. We have a flat grind, and we are rocking M398 steel. Think of M398 like a souped up M390. I mean, it's not a tough steel, but it's going to have exceptional edge retention, and it's still going to have really good corrosion resistance. Now, as far as the action, this knife has a bit of a heavier detent. It's not super hard to deploy. And they do give you jimping on the flipper tab. Oh, here we go. Help if it was in the camera. So yeah, it's not hard to deploy, but you could definitely tell it's got a stiffer detent. I imagine, because I've gotten to use this a little bit, but not as much as I would like to. So it hasn't quite broken in yet. But over time, I imagine this will still be a shake shut, probably never a drop shut. But that detent is going to smooth out and loosen up. I've mentioned this in other videos, but with how tight their tolerances are in the manufacturing process, their knives are going to have a break-in period, right? So right when you get it out of the box, it's not going to be like loosey-goosey or, you know, all butter and crazy smooth. You know, whenever you have tolerances this tight, you need to break them in. That's kind of the trade-off. And by tolerances, it's how tightly everything fits together. There's no slop in the build construction. You know, everything's perfectly centered. You can see there's not a ton of room on either side. And that's just because they've got the manufacturing down to near perfection. But like I said, over time, this will loosen up. And if this were my knife, which this is actually, this and the Orca are my two favorite Poikilo knives. If this were my knife, I would take it apart and, you know, lube the pivot, which would help the break in quite a bit. And then just kind of tune the detent to my liking. And then on the shut, like I've demonstrated, you know, 2 or 3 good shakes will get it down. I imagine it will get to a, yeah, it'll get to a single shake shut. Who knows? Actually, maybe it will get to a drop shut over time with some lube. Yeah. But yeah, I am a huge fan of this knife. This thing is awesome. I mean, speaks directly to my aesthetic. Now, lock bar access, as with all their knives, they've got some chamfering right here. That way you can just get in there, easy. Access is easy. Disengage and drop shut. Well, and flick. Well, no, shake shut. Typically, because this is a non-reversible pocket clip, and it's an exposed lock bar. Typically, I wouldn't say this is lefty friendly, but if I can do it, then lefties can do it. So I will say this is lefty friendly. And if you really want this knife and you like the way it looks, you absolutely can deploy and manipulate it left-handed. Now, as far as the overall length, we're coming in at 8.55 inches. That's with a 3.55 inch blade and a blade to handle ratio of 0.71. The blade to handle ratio isn't my favorite, but they've executed it in such a way that to me it still looks really good. So I don't feel like it's you know, uneven. I don't feel like the blade's way too small for the handle. I feel like they did a good job. We probably could have squeezed another, you know, 1/4 of an inch on the blade, but you know, I mean, at the end of the day, 8.55 inches is plenty long enough, so I think they struck a good balance here. Now, size comparison against the Vanguard Cheetah. The Cheetah is getting dwarfed by about 1.5 inches. We will do the TW Price Dawn V3. And it's in about the same boat as the Cheetah is, getting dwarfed by roughly 1.5 inches. And lastly, we're going to do the Civivi Altus, which is going to be almost 2 inches shorter. And actually, while I have it up here, just checking a larger knife next to it, I have the ProTech TR3 Integrity. And it's coming in about 1/2 inch shorter than the Rhino M. All right, so if you guys have watched my previous video, you already know what the M stands for. For those that don't, M is midtech, right? So in the knife world, there's a few in-betweens, but you have production, you have midtech, and you have custom. So this one is going to fall into the midtech because it does have some hands-on after the manufacturing process. It's quality controlled, by hand, by the designers. But not only that, the extra fit and finish and materials. So the full zircotie pivot, front and back. And this isn't like a small pivot. It wasn't like they're like, all right, we're going to do zircotie and make the pivot super small. No, this is a very generous rectangle, not rectangle, my bad. Triangle. No, it's got 4 sides. Whatever. It's a lot of zircotie. And then having the full zircotie clip, and then all the zircotie on the back here. And if you look, you can see that it's like sandwiched, right? That stuff is not easy to do. That is next level precision machining, right? And then we have the mirrored stone wash finish on the blade, which is not something we see too often. And then, of course, the insanely tight tolerances, essentially done to perfection. These things all add to the cost, right? So this takes it far above and away from production, but also to kind of place the machining quality of Poikilo. They're one step above, say, like your Riots and your Bestechs. So, a production Riot, production Bestech, you're looking at $300-400 on the higher end. I'll say like the nicest Bestechs are going to be like $300 to $400. The nicest Riots are going to be like in the $500 range, minus their super rare, super limited edition, $900 knives, right? But just on average, the nicest Riots $500-600. So these guys are a step above that, and they're giving you more premium materials, more premium blade steel. This knife is coming in at $680. That is a ridiculous amount of money for a knife. And you do not need to spend $680. You don't even have to spend $100. You can get a knife just like this for right around $50 and be perfectly fine. This is going to do all your daily EDC tasks. This is going to do, your box cutting, letter opening. It'll be a joy to, use and fidget with. So you certainly don't need to go crazy. But just understand that, if the cost of this knife seems absolutely insane to you, then you are probably not the target audience for a knife like this. I am the target audience for a knife like this. Now, $680 is a lot of money, and I don't have that just lying around. It's something I have to save for, sell a few knives for. But at $680, I can see exactly where that price is coming from, and I can see the value that's packed into this knife. Now, what I will do, though, is I will link White Mountain knives. Now, they sell out quite a bit, and I don't get anything from linking White Mountain knives, but it saves you a ton of money. If you use the code SEVER7, SEVR, SEVN, it'll take 10% off the price, which means it's going to knock about $70 off the overall cost of a knife like this, right? Now, is this something that I would carry? I really don't know. There's some Poikilos that I would carry and I would collect, and I would absolutely collect this one. But honestly, I like it so much, I don't think I would actually like make it a user. Now, don't get me wrong. I would put it in my pocket. I would carry it around. I would probably cut paper with it, very light stuff. But I would definitely have a backup knife on me that would do anything that I didn't want to make this one do. But like at no point would this be my dedicated daily user all by itself. I really, really enjoy this knife. And part of my collecting is making sure that I keep my collection pieces as pristine as possible. Now, can this be a dedicated daily user? Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, it's got the blade steel for it. It's got the build for it. You can 100% have this as a daily carry, use it for everything you want, you know, do all your box breaking down, take it to work with you. I mean, there's nothing about this knife that screams delicate. But just for me, part of my collection journey and what brings me joy is having knives that I love and also having them in near perfect condition, right? So I wouldn't make this a user, but I would absolutely collect it. I love this knife. I think it's tremendous and beyond fantastic. And my question for you is this something that would make it its way into your collection? Is this something that you would daily carry? Whatever the answer is, let me know down in the comments. And if you like the video, hit the like button. Please subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I do appreciate you guys for all the subscribers, the likes, the comments. The support means a tremendous amount to me. So I can't thank you guys enough. And until the next time, peace.